You ever been lost? Everything starts to look the same. You start to wonder, how did I get here? And it's not too long before you think, how do I get back? Well, this is what God's chosen people, the Israelites, started to think when they got out of Egypt. They were slaves, which is bad. And they wanted to get out, right? And then Moses and Aaron came and freed them. That's good. And then they started wandering around. And they didn't know where they were going. They felt afraid. They were scared. They didn't trust God. They doubted Moses and they doubted Aaron. They didn't know if there was a plan or not. And to them, it seemed chaotic. And they started to fear and they started to complain. And they were just like, we don't have water. We don't have food. And then God started to provide for them. God gave them something called manna, which fed them every day. But the only thing with manna is it only fed them every day. It didn't feed them once for like a week or a month. It wasn't Costco. Manna was each day, and it required that they trust in the Lord for every day. And that's what God wanted. He didn't necessarily want them to know the whole way or to be filled to the brim each day, week, month, year, and never rely on Him. God was testing His chosen people in the wilderness to see what they would do if they didn't know anything. And, I just wonder, when we think about this wilderness that the Israelites were in, they were wandering around, lost, aimless, they were afraid. How would we feel if we were lost, afraid, uncertain of the future? You know what? How do you feel right now? A lot of us are lost. We're uncertain of the future. We're afraid. We don't know what is ahead. And we want to go back. We want to go back to where we came from. I guess my question is that really a good place? Is back to exactly where you came from what God wants for you? When I think about the wilderness story of the Israelites, Moses and Aaron and so forth, I think it would have been totally different if the people knew the plan. Let's just say God said, look, I'm going to take you through this period of wilderness, this direction here. And He explained it to them in human terms and said, the reason I'm taking you through the wilderness is so that you avoid a murderous tribe of people who's going to kill you guys. I think in that case, God's chosen people would have said, okay, checks out. That's okay with me. I'll follow. I don't think there would have been the fear. I think if it would have gone through human intellect, the Israelites would have said, okay, I get it. I understand. But God was testing His chosen people. He was saying, what if you don't get it? What if you don't understand? Then what will you do? And then He tested them again by saying, what if you don't have enough to survive for the day? Who are you going to look to for strength? Who are you going to look to for security? And guys, this brings to mind a handy little device called a compass. One of them is on my phone here, which I'm filming with. A common error with compasses is that when you turn them on, it starts pointing. You see that little red pointer pointing. And when you watch someone who's never used a compass before and you say to them, go north, you know what they normally do? They turn the compass. They start twisting the device around until north is in front of them. They start walking that way, but that's not how compasses work. Compasses show you true north. Compasses show you where north is, regardless of how you turn that device or the compass or whatever, the phone that you have. And this is much like God. God shows you the way He wants you to go, no matter how you twist and turn. He shows you the truth, true north. That might not be the way that you want to go. It might not be a comfortable direction, but it's the direction that He has chosen for you. And this lesson that the Israelites are learning is a lot about faith and trust. It's not about punishment. It's about faith and trust. And do they trust Him in the uncertain times? And will they keep following God even when it doesn't make sense to them? And guys, trust is just about perspective. I'm sure a lot of you have done those things called like the trust falls. You do those in grade school many times. You go to school camps, you do those trust falls, and you close your eyes and fall back, and you just sort of hope that somebody has done a risk assessment and somebody understands how much you weigh and that will catch you. And it's a big moment. You have this breakthrough like, oh my gosh, you did it. You did the trust fall and you came out the other side, and it's a real victorious feeling. Well, guys, I can't help but realize right now there's so many ways to compare the trust fall and this wilderness experience that the Israelites had with what we're going through right now. We're lost, we're wandering around aimlessly. We just need to find true north. We just need to have perspective. We don't need to understand, but we need to put our trust in the right place. And in this text, you even read about the Israelites getting hangry. They get upset at God and they start rebelling against Moses. And I can't help but think, how many times have we been upset in this whole period now where we're lost and we're looking for truth? We want this to be over already. We want to be out of the wilderness, back to normal. Well, just like the Israelites in Exodus 16, we need to trust in God. His perspective is much greater than ours. He knows where we are. Literally, figuratively, he knows us. And he's taken us through this. He's walking with us. Let me ask you this. Would you rather not gain character in your life, or would you rather go through a trial that produces character? The Bible's filled with examples of Christ and others who have been put through trials in times of uncertainty so that they would be strong, so that they could do battle for the Lord. And guys, many of you are probably feeling that right now, just like the Israelites in the desert, in the wilderness. They were wandering around, building character, learning how to trust in the Lord. And just like many of us, when we're wandering around aimlessly, if we trust in the Lord and we give our perspectives over to him and we let him guide us, even if we don't know where we are, God does. And that's what the lesson for today is about. When the Israelites finally were allowed to enter the promised land, they had learned what God wanted them to learn. They had taken on board the lessons and they were ready to be in the promised land. And the perspective never changed from the Lord's perspective. He knew where they were. He knew how close they were to being home. And God, and guys, I know that many of you think you'll never make it. This might never end, but this too shall pass. You're not that far from home. So hang in there. Trust in God. He is true north and he will guide you through this.